Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with my buddy, Robin Boyd, and we are so excited to start the September season with just a crazy old heat wave, Rob. We had 107 out here. They finally canceled soccer practice and the baseball games, but you know what? They played them at 105, but not at 107. I don't know what difference 2 degrees makes, but apparently a lot.
Wow. And here we are. I just went to the store and I had my polar fleece on.
Oh!
So that just shows you what a few thousand miles will do for you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys really are having the heat wave.
We are. And it's funny, you talk about that because in a couple of weeks, we're going to have some relocation specialists on from Alaska who have been handling military families relocating to, J-Bear and the different bases up in Alaska. And, they have such great stories about, when people come from like Alabama, Louisiana, Virginia, Atlanta, and go to, to Alaska. And that's like me going to your place right now.
It's true. Your blood does have to kind of acclimate. It's very difficult to even plan. You can't always have the same wardrobe. You've got to have, the different layers if you go to a different climate. It's really hard. That's where networking comes in.
It is. It's so important because we're going to talk about a little bit about, one of my friends just moved up there last year, and she was like, oh my God, Sandra, I have never had to buy like hat and gloves and boots. And she had to learn the hard way to tip the boots upside down to let them drain out and dry out. All those things you take for granted growing up in a cold climate. She had no idea.
Although this is the time of year that you like out here. I'll send you some pictures of our foliage because it is starting to turn out here. We're starting to get some color and starting to get some blush. So it's getting very New Englandy, very pretty.
Well, we're getting very brown because nobody can water anything with the drought. So all of my roses are brown. I mean, I give them a teeny little bit, just enough to keep them alive. But, this time of year, normally I have a whole garden full of white floribundas, big, just tons of, white roses everywhere.
Sure.
And they're just all crinkly little brown things.
What about your produce out there? How's your season been for produce?
Everything seems to have gone up in price. I don't know what's going on because I even noticed, like, this sounds silly, but like our McDonald's, we get the same thing every time we go through the drive-thru. It's like Zachy only eats chicken McNuggets, and Max will only eat a hamburger. No pickle, cheese only, ketchup. We've been ordering the same thing for I don't know how long, and it's always been like $9.53. I can tell you for the two, the Happy Meal and then the kids meal, and then I get my Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It was $11.75, and I was like, "What?" Like, sometimes I have it timed out, Robin. I have the 5, the 1s, the sure ready because it's been the same for I don't know how long. And I've noticed that the fast food. Not that we eat it that much, but during soccer season, the kids will and we'll run in between school and practice or in between doubleheader games and grab a hamburger. And it was always right around $10, and now it's anywhere from 11 to 14. So it's really changed.
Wow. And the gas prices out here actually have come down a tad. So you can't even attribute it to transportation and whatnot because whenever there's a big influx in gas prices, that's of course when everything across the board goes up. But I don't know about out there, but our gas prices have come down a tad. So, gee.
Well, our gas is 383 this morning when I filled up.
Wow, I've done
Ridiculous.
336, I think was what but it was a few days ago, but 336 I paid.
Yeah, so yeah, ours is down too. So yeah, it can't be because of the gas. I don't know. It just, I mean, it's good that they went up in price because I was kind of getting a little lazy with the sports season, going like, oh, do I really want to cut up all this stuff versus the convenience? You know, but I noticed cereal went up too. That was my other frustration. I don't ever buy cereal. And then this year, the kids were like, Mom, we're weird. You have to get us cereal because that's what all the other kids do. So I caved, like a typical mother. And, and I hadn't bought cereal in like a year, and they were all up in the $4 range.
Yeah, they really are. We have some that come in bags. It's like a generic, and they're pretty good. But I have to say, our local chain's generic version is very good, and you can save sometimes $1.50. I don't know what some of the PXs are getting for prices and stuff, but like that. But at least our generics out here have been pretty good. And then, like you do, the Amazon Prime customer, that's always for things like cereal, dog food, all of those things. That's such a great idea to do that, but it takes planning.
It does. And, and I can tell you what I've been cheating because, when you get a kid that goes into middle school, oh my God, it's like I have to have, Hurley underpants and, I don't know, Vulcan, I don't know, it's the Gucci for kids. And
Yeah.
He was so concerned about this generic cereal. He was like, Mom, And so what I do now, I've actually come to either refill the box or
Yes.
I bought, like this weekend, I went and bought these big, like clear containers. We have Big Lots. I don't know if you have Big Lots, but
Yes.
they have these special pre-made cereal containers, and they're great because they keep the ants out. But the best part is, the kids don't know what's in there. If it's Apple Jacks or like,
Sure.
Crappy Jacks, whatever the brand is, they don't know. But I was like, holy cow! I don't think I ever knew about brands, until maybe I got to high school. I don't know. My mom's dead, so I can't ask her. She'd probably tell you I was a pain in the ass.
I did that as a kid when mine were kids, and I got to tell you, they knew the difference between generic Cheerios and real Cheerios. I could not get the fake Cheerios past them. But then again, back then, I mean, we're talking 25, 30 years ago. So generic products have really come up in quality since then. But yeah, it is hard. But you do have to find where you can cut. Everybody does it. They've just got to try and find some way to stretch that budget, and it's really hard.
It is. And it was interesting you'd say about that because what's happened in my community, and it's always been one of my biggest frustrations, Rob, is these soccer teams. I have probably 9. I mean, Max has played 7 years. Zaki's played 5 years. I probably have 13 pairs of soccer shorts. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've got soccer colored socks, and all this stuff. And it's like, why are we buying new uniforms every year? Because I only have 2 kids. There's families that have 5 or 6 in my neighborhood. The Air Force family down the street has 4 boys. And we were talking in our walk this morning in the park about how insane it is. And we all buy new cleats and new shin guards. And when I was little, we wore pennies. I mean, we were a redneck town, so we didn't even have uniforms. But when did it become necessary for kids to look like professional players at, 3rd grade?
I agree. Is it just that the color scheme has changed, or is it that
every team, every season gets a new team. Like the baseball teams, Zaki's been an Astro. He loved to say Astro because it had the word ass in it. And he'd go, I'm an Astro, get it? And then he was a Yankee, and he was a Dodger one year. But so they get a team cap, which I don't mind. We wear caps a lot, but then they want to put their names on their jerseys, and it's like you're out $40 before you blink an eye, on top of the $250 it is to play the sport.
Wow. I was going to say, because we in Scouts have swap days. So if you want to swap out, say, a brownie uniform for a junior uniform, you can, or the other way around, I should say, probably, you can do that, and we have kind of swap days. And but if you've got your name imprinted on the jersey, then that makes it kind of hard to do that.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, because then, they grow out of it too. So what do you do with it? I mean, I stuck one on a teddy bear because I didn't know what else to do with it. But then I got 3 more folded up in the closet.
Yeah, yeah. But the cleats and the shin guards and everything should be able to be swapped out, couldn't you?
You would think. I mean, I know there's a mom on Facebook that's trying to get a group together to swap out, because the cleats are expensive. It's like $20, for each kid, and the shin guards and stuff. And I mean, thank God. I mean, I know this sounds awful, but Max grew out of everything, and it was a fortune. Zaki's small, so we're on the 3rd year with the same shin guards. But it's not like they play professionally and they get that banged up. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
right.
So
right.
Yeah, I think maybe if you're on base or whatever, there could be somebody who's like, you know what, I'll be willing. Maybe we can all get together, because my girlfriends and I get together, and we did that with maternity clothes, because maternity clothes are so expensive, and so we would swap. And I had a big bag, a garbage bag, I kid you not, that I handed to Christy when she was pregnant with her baby, Christy from my old Motherhood Talk Radio.
Oh, right.
And then she handed it on to her cousin, and this just bag of clothes, went from person to person, because it's a fortune.
Yeah. San, we've got a break coming up, and I want to let everybody know that we have Michael Russer coming on with us today. He's the managing director of GoArmyHomes, and we're going to review their latest publication, the GoArmyHomes Cookbook. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my hands on my copy. Before we go to break, I wanted to direct everybody to buildinghomesforheroes.org. They've got a number of events coming up, and this organization was founded in 2006, and what they do is build or modify homes and gift them mortgage-free to veterans and their families. They've got 3 events coming up in the southern Florida area, so I encourage everybody to go and see when they've got a golf outing, they've got a concert coming up, and a sporting clay shoot coming up in November. So do check them out, and then stay tuned, because we have Michael Russer on the other side of our break right here on Military Mom Talk Radio. Don't go away.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Get ready for Wise Up Radio, leveraging your learning, leadership, and legacy with Donna Kimbrand, the Edgy Evolutionary, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you're an entrepreneurial leader or visionary, stay ahead of your game with insights, tools, and strategies that give you the thought leader's edge. Each week, join Donna and her guests as she'll ask the edgy questions, help you discover game-changing shortcuts to better thinking and learning, how to explore the ripple effects of leadership excellence, and how to create your life as a living legacy, where the legacy you leave is the life you live. As thought leaders, you need strategies to help you enjoy the confidence and thrill of riding the wave of rapid change. For more on Donna, check out her website, GameChangerThinking.com. Then join the conversation and sharpen up your wits on Wise Up Radio with Donna Kimbrand, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Hey kids, do you think you're creative? Do you want to be? Don't have enough time for your arts, crafts, and hobbies? Or do you just need a kick in the pants? Hi, I'm Mark Lipinski, the host of Creative Mojo with Mark Lipinski, right here on TogiNet Radio. Come on and join me every Wednesday afternoon for some creative inspiration and 2 of the fastest fun-filled hours of your week. Hey, need ideas? How about a little motivation and a lot of inspiration? Join the fun on Creative Mojo with me, Mark Lipinski. I'm here live every Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on TogiNet.com. Now what are you waiting for?
We'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and I am pleased to introduce Michael Russer of GoArmyHomes because he has produced with his company this GoArmyHomes cookbook, and the thing about it, Robin, it's like an elephant. It took like 2.5 years in gestation to give birth, but he kept at it despite lots of different issues, trials, tribulations, people dying. I mean, it was crazy what was going on to get this cookbook produced. And it was fun for me, Rob, because most people don't realize when they buy a cookbook and open it up just how much work goes into producing a cookbook. And I think there's a lot of women out there that go, oh, I'd like to make my own cookbook someday. Have you ever thought about making a cookbook, Rob?
Yes, I have a number of times for various organizations. And you're right, it is a lot of work, not only to collect the recipes, but the backstories and testing and making sure that the recipe works right. Yeah, lots of work.
Yeah, and but the end result is worth it. When I got a copy of it, you thought I gave birth to it. It was just like, I was like showing everyone. I'm like, look. And I'm sorry, Rob, that your copy rode around in the back of my car for 2 weeks.
That's okay. I'm looking forward to it. I saw the beginnings of it. So now I was in on the beginning stages. So now I'm excited to see the final product.
Me too, and I'd like to thank everybody, all of our listeners and social media followers who submitted recipes. I think I got over 1,100 or something like that sent in. Remember when that crazy filled up my inbox? I was like, oh no, what do I do now?
It's wonderful.
But it was super fun. So I'm excited to bring on Michael to talk about this because this has been a long time coming.
Welcome,
hey, Michael, are you there?
Oh, are you waiting for me? Okay.
I am. Okay. You were busy reading the cookbook. I know you.
Oh, boy. Yeah, this was definitely like giving birth. And Sandra, you were so much part of that. First of all, you just gathering all those recipes, which came from so many different Army families. And I think it's important to note that these aren't just recipes. These represent the stories behind the recipes. These are the favorite dishes of the fighting men and women and the families that make these recipes for them. And there's a lot of warmth and love behind these recipes, in addition to being very delicious. But I have to say, it was a lot of work, and I know you just worked your butt off on this. You vetted over, like you said, I don't know, about 1,100 different recipes, and I know your whole kitchen was turned into a test kitchen, and then you did the photographs. I mean, it was just quite a production, and it couldn't have happened without your work. Without a doubt, it could not have happened. And yeah, it was a lot of work.
It was. Well, it was interesting, Michael, when I get these recipes, and I think I got over I want to say 75 brownie recipes. I kid you not. From blonde blonde brownies, white chocolate brownies, like white chocolate chip, with all the different combinations of pecans. There was one like a pecan caramel, and it was so hard because I would sit here going, where do you draw the line at a brownie? You've got a brownie with pecan caramel topping. You've got a brownie with one had like a crunchy glazed walnut crust. I mean, just fantastic, from marshmallows to nuts to. It was really, really hard to choose some of these. I mean, I could have done that cookbook, with 1,000 pages in it.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, it's a good thing you were vetting the recipes, because when it comes to brownies, the whole cookbook would have been brownies for me. It just, you're describing these brownies and I'm going, my mouth is watering. It's just amazing. I know there's just so many different recipes, but it's, it's just, and this is, I call this book the little cookbook with a big heart, because that's really what it is. In fact, it was specifically designed, thanks to you and your team, to be travel worthy, because these families are constantly traveling. And, they want to bring their cookbooks with them, but it's hard, if not impossible. They got to pack them away. This is a cookbook that'll fit in someone's purse. And another nice thing I hear about it, which I'm glad we went in this direction, is because it's wire bound, it opens up flat, so that it makes it really easy for people to make the recipes as they're looking at the book. And so I keep hearing this over and over again, how much they love those two features.
Michael, let me ask you, because GoArmyHomes is a real estate support for Army families. And how did GoArmyHomes come to decide that a cookbook would be a good venture for them as an organization to present?
Well, we're going back, 2.5 years?
I know.
So let me see if I can remember it, because it's dim in my memory now.
It's diversion. I mean, it's really a diversion. It's not expected.
No, it isn't. And somebody actually suggested the idea to us outside of the organization. And, the owners of the company started looking at each other going, that's not a bad idea. And because, we're constantly working with these families and helping with them with their PCS moves. And so that means we're pretty tied into the stories that they have and the trials and tribulations and some of the more tender moments. And a lot of it is based around food, especially the favorite recipes that they've created, for their fighting men and women. And so we thought, you know what, why not? This would be something kind of special. And so that's kind of how it came about, just asking the question, why not?
I love why not. Why not?
Why not?
But you're right, because it is a story about families. It's not just recipes. And when you stop and think, sometimes the one thing that is that touch of home is always based on food. It might be a care package that has those favorite brownies or the party mix around the holidays or whatnot. And that seems to always be the one uniting element in our lives is remembering those recipes. And that to me just makes sense, but it does after you think about it. But that initial, let's make a cookbook probably was not what you expected to be doing with GoArmyHomes.
No, it wasn't, and it ended up being a lot more work than we expected, but that's okay. The end result was worth it. And again, thanks primarily to Sandra and her team, because we couldn't have done it without her. And but this is another thing about this cookbook, is that the way it's designed, I thought was so clever. I didn't do it. Someone else, and I think Sandra, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the design ideas came from you. and the pink camouflage cover and the dog tags and all that. I mean, this is really a very cleverly designed and attractively designed cookbook. And so it's a keepsake as well as being a practical cookbook.
Well, and I had a ball naming the recipes because Rick and I sat down with a bottle of wine and a couple beers, and because we didn't think it was fun to have just like like cream puffs, so we changed them to Camp Swampy Puffs. Knowing the insides and the funny things that we we call different bases and like Fort Huachucas, Fort Hoochie Coochie, things that only insiders would know. And I think that was, to me, the most fun because we were just laughing, having the best old time, knowing that it was a tribute to the unique language used by the military.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at one of the recipes now that my girlfriend made for us, boot camp beans. And oh my God, they were so good. They were so good. Oh, and she made it and looked just like the picture on the recipe. And so, I have to emphasize, these recipes are good. I mean, I give this book to some friends and they're going, oh my gosh, I want to try these. And again, the names that you guys came up with were just something else, like GI wings for spicy chicken wings, and MOS bread, and I mean, just goes on. A sea ration soup, and then Farmer Armor country bread. I mean, come on, you guys must have had more than one beer. That's all I can say. That is very creative.
Butts to Nuts made it in there, and that's where that one came from. That was probably beer number 3.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And then we're also very fortunate to have some pretty high profile people endorse this book. Of course, Lee Woodworth, a CBS News correspondent, she wrote the foreword to the book, and we're very, very grateful to her for doing that. And then also we have a number of other people like Carolyn Blashek, who is Operation Gratitude, the founder of Operation Gratitude, which we are very pleased and honored to be affiliated with, in the sense that every purchase of this book, $1 of the purchase price goes to Operation Gratitude, and they are doing such an incredible job with that.
They certainly are, and I'm so glad that is a part of this book and the purchase of this book. On the other side of the break, let's talk a little bit more about what was entailed in Sandra's kitchen to decide which recipes were going to go in the book, and all that went into the test kitchen of the GoArmyHomes cookbook. Today we're talking with Michael Russer, Managing Director of GoArmyHomes, and we're reviewing their newly published book, the GoArmyHomes Cookbook. Lots of luscious recipes, but lots of warmth and heart involved as well. We'll tell you right where you can get your copy after the break. Stay tuned.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd, and we'll be right back after these.
This is God in Country, the collision of faith and politics, hosted by nationally known speaker, Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener. Not your typical Rev. Dr. Sean is a proud military veteran, former law enforcement officer, and founder of the internationally regarded Executive Protection Team. Dr. Sean holds a bachelor's degree in biblical counseling and master's and doctorate degrees in theology, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in ministry with a Hebrew worldview focus. Through his counseling, elite life coaching, and national speaking, this ninja pastor tells it like it is. This series is biblically and politically engaged with the pedal to the metal. Join host and author of the acclaimed yet controversial book, Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America, Dr. Sean Michael Greener. every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this radio network. Are you fascinated by the stories behind the stories, the people behind their masks, the truth about people's failures and redemptions in both their business and personal lives? Then Off the Record Secrets of with host Judy Schreiner is for you. It's people's secrets that make them interesting, but very few folks are willing to reveal them unless they trust that their information will be treated with accuracy, fairness, and respect. People have been entrusting their secrets to longtime business journalist Judy Schreiner for the last 25 years, and now she's bringing her expertise and impressive contact list. Tune in and call in as host Judy Schreiner talks to guests off the record as they reveal new secrets each Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we're visiting with Michael Russer of GoArmyHomes, and we are talking about the cookbook that they produced, and I had a big hand in it. Rob, I know you did too, so we're all very proud of the cookbook that's available on Amazon. Michael, what's the price for the cookbook?
The price is $19.95, and the easiest way to find it is just go to GoArmyCookbook.com. GoArmyCookbook.com. It'll take them right to the Amazon page, and they'll see just a ton of reviews already that have come in. People seem to really, really love this book.
Sandra, tell us a little bit what went on in your kitchen as far if you had 1,100 or 1,500 some odd recipes come flying in your inbox. How did you cull through? We'd have to have 3 versions, 1,000 pages each.
Well, yeah, Sandra, also, what I want to know is who ate all that food that went into the test kitchen? That's what I want to know.
Well, what I did is every recipe that came in, that was complete, because we did get a lot of incomplete ones. Like they didn't have, they just had the ingredient list, but not, the amounts, or they didn't have instructions with it. So, we pulled out of that. We probably had close to 800 at that point that were viable recipes. Then we printed them all out and put them on my kitchen table, and we organized them by like entree and appetizer, dessert, main meal, and then within those I went with these clips and Post-its, and I clipped all the chicken recipes together, all the beef recipes, the chocolate ones, the pies. I went and looked at a cookbook, and I had worked on other cookbooks before, so I started sorting them out. And when you kind of organize the herd like that, it's actually not so bad, because you sit down and you look at all the chicken recipes, at one time. And then the next deciding factor that I went through was I looked to see what was available on a typical base, because the problem with a lot of the recipes that came in, like there was a bunch that came in from Hawaii, and they looked really, really good, but they required things like fresh coconut, and they would write like, it's just not good, if you don't have the fresh coconut. Well, a lot of us can't get fresh coconut, or there were some Middle Eastern recipes of all things that came in from people who had served overseas and come home and, made their own version. But again, trying to get tahini or sesame paste, or if there were spices in there that weren't readily available, I would go into the grocery store, and I went to like Ralph's and Vaughn's and looked around, and if they didn't carry some of this stuff, as much as those recipes were outstanding, it's really frustrating to have a recipe and you don't have the ingredients.
Maybe the next version would be an online version and call it regional specials or something. It's a shame to not utilize them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could release them at some point. But
I loved that.
that's I think we're cookbooked out actually when it comes it's like Sandra said in the beginning, when you put something like this together and want it to be real professional, really engaging, something that people not just, it's not just about the recipes, but something that's great to look at and use and show your friends and even give as a gift, because it's really kind of designed for that as well. It takes a lot of work, and it's not just about the recipes. It's about how they all kind of come together. And you guys did such a wonderful job on that, but I'm not sure I'd want to do this again anytime soon.
Oh, gosh. It is an awful lot of work. So then, what about the photographs, Sandra?
Well, then, okay, all right. You missed a step here, because once you cull the herd, and you've got the 200 or 300 recipes that you want to use. Well, then I started cooking them, and I used the test tummies. I have a lot of kids over at my house after school, because I'm the one mom in the neighborhood that works from home. And most of the moms that are not stay-at-home moms, that are working moms, have to drive into the city. So it's not that uncommon that women are stuck in traffic and they say, or some husbands, hey, can you pick up so-and-so and he can stay at your house just for 15 minutes till I get off the freeway, which is really great, because then the parents don't stress, the kids don't stress, the school doesn't get mad, so it really works out nice. And I have a van that seats 7, so if I pile in a couple more kids, who cares? So I was making these recipes, and so I would just dish it out with not only my kids, but all these little kids. And then because I own a company out of my house, we had a couple with 3 Army guys, a Marine and a National Guardsman that worked for me on a regular basis. And I will tell you, they were always up for eating. I don't think Rick turned down a meal ever. But yeah, so I would cook them, and then I invited some moms over for a couple weekends, and we all brought our own ingredients, and we cooked up the dishes, and then we split it up, and then we'd say, well, this one was really salty, or this one, my kids didn't like it. So if one parent didn't like it, we just booted it out. It was that simple. It's because we had so many and we could afford to be picky. And there were just some home runs that you read the recipe and you knew it was going to be a hit. Like my mom's mac and cheese. Everybody who has made that just, and I think it's a mac and cheese recipe, originally from like the Joya pasta box in the 70s. My sister told me, she's like, that came right off the box. That wasn't mom's recipe. Whatever. But I grew up with it. And when we made it, a bunch of the moms were like, oh my God, my mom used to make this. So it was really kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah. Wow. How
well,
fun.
You must have had food for like months after that.
Yeah, I did. I froze a lot of it too, because I cook on Sundays. And this is a working mom trick that I learned when I was in college, and I boarded with a family during my teaching newspaper internship. And this lady, Lucy Lightfoot, I loved her to death. She would go to church in the morning. She would shop for all of her stuff for the week. Then she would cook all of her meals. She'd cook a roast beef. She'd cook a chicken. She'd make a couple casseroles. She'd cook her noodles and her rice. And then she would combine everything in these Anchor glass. They still sell them today, at Big Lots. Anchor glass.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like a glass pan with a plastic lid on it. You take the plastic lid off, cover it with tinfoil, and put it in the freezer or put it in the oven. But you can make all your meals. And the nice thing about that is you only have pots and pans to clean up on one day. And then I just pull those meals out during the week, and I either heat them up, throw them in the oven, whatever they're required to do. And we eat very well without me having to cook every night, because that would cause me to my head to spin off.
Sandra, I remember some of the recipes that you were talking about, and I don't think they made it in the book, but were very unusual in the way they were prepared. And I remember something about a jar pumpkin pie or something like that.
The pies in a jar.
Yeah. And that just caught my imagination. And I was kind of sad they didn't make it into the cookbook, but I think there was a reason why. You gave a reason why that there was. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, we gave the reason why because these were the spin-off of a pumpkin pie in a jar. And when troops are sent overseas, it's fun for you to cook the pie shell in the bottom of a jam jar. You got to clean them and sterilize them first, and you put the pie crust, push it down the bottom, and then you add the filling, and you put the filling in, and it could be a pumpkin pie, blueberry pie, raspberry pie, whatever, and you can even put like a cream, like a whipped cream on top, and then you seal them and boil them. You cook them. And then you have to seal them and boil them like you would canning and jarring. And what happened with those recipes, and the reason we didn't include them is a couple of the moms they weren't as diligent. They weren't used to canning. So they had made these jars. And then when they put them in the fridge, a couple of the jars cracked. And then one of the moms put them in the fridge and she left them there and she didn't seal them right. And they molded and they went sour. So we were more afraid of making people sick and left the canning recipe. You can cook these things and serve them right in the jars to kids. They're really fun, but to lid them, can them, and seal them for long term, I thought took like more than your typical recipe. And those things aren't really made to eat right at the point. They're made to store and made to ship.
Yeah, I can see how that might cure someone's taste for pumpkin pie, like for the rest of their life. Yeah. Oh my, did that pumpkin pie just move?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we do have videos. Legs. I don't know where the videos are. We can put the videos up.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well, that's a good reason not to do that. Yeah, but I thought it was very intriguing, very, very intriguing that some of the creative ways some of these recipes were prepared. I mean, and what killed me is that every time you're talking about some of these recipes, I have this, Pavlovian reaction. My mouth just, starts watering, and I can't help it. They're that good.
Do you have some recipes in there that are, say, cooking for two type recipes and then some for big families? Is there a nice gambit in there?
All of them, Rob, are pretty much sized so that you can easily cut them down. You know what I mean? It's like nothing that we put in there was too complicated. That was another thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it gets very complicated when you have two kids, or sometimes with many blended families, you can have a Tuesday where you have two kids and a Wednesday where you have 5 kids.
Right. It is a challenge sometimes adjusting, because if it says 1 egg but you only need like really a little bit, that's when it gets a little complicated. Today we're talking with Michael Russer and Sandra Beck about their recent publication, GoArmyHomes Cookbook. It is available at GoArmyCookbook.com. We suggest you visit there and get a glimpse of the book. And I think on Amazon you can at least get an idea of what the pages look like and how nicely laid out they are. I know when I'm cooking, you just want that information clear and concise. So do check it out. We'll be back in a moment with Michael Russer.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
It's time to devote time to yourself and strap yourself in for a fun, down-to-earth, enthusiastic, compassionate, easy-to-understand discussion on the unlimited ways you can be all that you want to be. Join us for Bee Institute Radio with Christine McKee on TogiNet Radio. Each week, Christine will have lively and open discussions and interviews, share stories and case studies, and hear from experts on the topic of the week. Christine, a registered psychologist from Australia and published author of Bee by Design, How I Be Is Up to Me. hosts lively discussions and interviews every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Have you ever wondered if you're normal or why you feel distant from your partner? Then join us for Sex Talk with Lou with your host Lou Paget on TogiNet Wednesday nights 9/8 Central. Do you want to recreate a truly connected relationship or wonder, how do I tell my kids about things? Join Lou Paget, one of the world's best-selling authors in the field of sexuality, a certified sex educator and sought-after expert for all media, and her renowned expert guests as they discuss anything and everything about sex that impacts our lives and our families' lives. For more on Lou, check out her website, loupaget.com. This is the show where the best experts in the field of sexuality and sexual health can finally give you the answer to that question. Join us for Sex Talk with Lou with your host Lou Paget, Wednesday nights at 9/8 Central on TogiNet.com.
We'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've been visiting with Michael Russer of the GoArmyHomes Cookbook. You can find it on Amazon. Just type in my name, Sandra Beck. You can type in Linda Jefferson, who's the other author on the work. You can type in GoArmyHome Cookbook. It's all there. You can find it. It's a great book. A lot of thought and effort went into this keepsake book. Like Michael had said earlier in the show, it's a small little cookbook that has a giant heart. And my thoughts in particular when helping put this book together was that I got so tired of lugging things around move after move. So when we first talked about making the cookbook, I was like, this needs to be small. It needs to be where you can rip the pages out you want to keep and throw the rest of the book away. I know that's wasteful, but when you're charged by the pound to move from place to place and you've got to lug a box of kitchen cookbooks, I will tell you, being able to rip it apart, throw it in the drawer, throw it in your purse, it's tiny and small. So it really, it's not that small, but it really is made for the on-the-go family. And Rob, I just wanted to put that out there because there's so many cookbooks that I've been involved with that are so beautiful, but they're heavy and they take up space. And then you can't find the recipe you're looking for. They're almost like they're there to read. And this is actually a cooking person's cookbook.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to ask, how did Lee Woodruff come to write your foreword?
I asked her.
That's awesome. I'm just curious if it was just a matter of if she was involved in some other way, or if there was a connection.
Well, she does. Yes, she is. Her husband Bob is very famous and is been an advocate for the military family for many years. And Lee they have their own charity, their own organization, and I met her and talked to her with respect to Shining Service Worldwide and a couple different military charitable organizations. And, she's a mom and she's come out very publicly talking about family life. And since Bob was injured, reporting in the first, I think it was the first Gulf War, I just really admire her, and I admire her for, keeping her marriage together, raising her kids. And I thought, she's the perfect example, even though she's not a military family, person herself. Her husband was, a military correspondent for, ABC covering when he was injured. So, I just felt it was a good match.
Perfect.
Dead air.
Dead air.
How do we segue from there?
Like how much I am impressed by her, how much I enjoy her, and I was like drifting off, and then I realized, we're still on the air.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. There's so many, like you say, there are so many elements as far as contributors. This is really a very special publication.
It really is. And you wouldn't believe how much editing went into this. Oh my gosh. I would have thought, we could, put it through 2 or 3 editing cycles. It must have gone through 10. And just to make sure it was right. And no matter how many times you have people look at it, they're always going to find something. So we just kept putting it through editing cycles to make sure it was right. Because, again, this is more than just a group of recipes. This is a keepsake. It's something that has so many stories from so many families tied to it. And it's got the warmth of the love that these families have for their fighting men and women. And that really shines through. So we wanted to do it right. But, every aspect of this thing took a lot of work. And but in the end, it was very much worth it. And so much thanks goes out to you, Sandra, your team, and Robin. I know you were very heavily involved, especially in the beginning. And I'm just telling you, it was just it was a big effort, and it paid off. It really did. With this book, how it came out, what it looks like, and the design. Still, everybody looks at the design, going, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool." In addition to the military. Names for the various recipes, which I just, again, think are a hoot. You've got the motif. And, maybe you can explain a little bit better than I can, Sandra, that design motif that we ended up with.
Well, we went back and forth. We wanted this to be more than just your typical cookbook. And, so we went around and round in designing the pages so they really had a military theme and flavor. Because, there's a couple other cookbooks out there. There's one, I think it's the Army Wives Cookbook. And it's a really big, pretty cookbook. And it's got a pink cover. But when you open it up on the inside, I have a copy of it. And I like the cookbook. But I was a little sad that it didn't have that military flavor that I was looking for. And so when we were working on this cookbook, and I'm not dogging the other cookbook, it's a wonderful cookbook. It's just different. It's not what I would have created. And so what was fun about this is, we were able to play with the design, the look and feel, and have, a banner up there that looked like a flag flapping on the base. And, we put the military time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner instead of saying breakfast recipes. We had 0700. We were able to play with a lot of these things. And then to make the interior pages, I think we spent months on that, Michael, trying to get it to look the way we wanted it to look, because we weren't interested in volume. We were interested in creating a keepsake. We're interested in creating something that when somebody who has served in the military or has a family member that serves in the military that buys this for themselves or buys it as a gift, knows that thought went into every single page in honoring our military family. And that's why the cookbook came out, I think, as great as it did, because there's just heart on every page. And it's just, this book could have been enlisted, at the rate it's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Who do you, I was going to ask, who do you attribute to the photography?
It's a group effort, some of them were my photographs, some of them were other photographs. I mean, it wasn't I think the photography turned out beautiful, Michael, but the photography was the last on my mind. The whole thing was the layout of the pages and then the recipes and the people that were chosen to be honored in there. So that it's funny. That's a question I've never been asked.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the photos are beautiful, but they're complemented by the. You're gonna have to hang on here a second. I have. There we go. I have my window open because it's so hot here in Santa Barbara, and the gardener just decided to turn on the blower. God. Oh, well, some of the things we do on radio. But anyway, the photography is beautiful, but I think the way that the book is laid out internally is just so beautiful. And it all kind of came together. And, one of the things I want to suggest to the listeners out there is that, this book is not only a keepsake for yourself, but I think as we approach the holiday season, Sandra, what do you think about this as being, a gift that they can give to other people? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I know I have my 50, so yeah, I think they make great gifts, and I think that it's a cool way to honor somebody who is serving. It's a cool way to honor the family that's keeping the home front fires burning. I think it's neat for anybody who's had like for me, I'm a multi-generation military family, so I think anybody's going to dig it because they're going to not only like the recipes, and that's what you expect of a cookbook, but this is fun to read. It's fun to look at, and I think that's what makes it the best gift because there's only so many camouflage lunch boxes you can buy and camouflage bags and but this is the only like camouflage cookbook. And that it's in pink camouflage, me, that just made my day. So yeah, yes. I think it's a great gift.
I think it's reasonable to say this is probably the most unique cookbook anybody will ever get or give as a gift. I think it's reasonable to say that, actually.
Yeah,
perfect.
I just wanted to really quick, Rob, before you close the show. I just wanted to bring up, it's the Bob Woodruff, that's WOODRUFF Foundation. I think I called her Lee Woodward, so I'm so sorry, Lee. But it's Bob Woodruff Foundation, and he was injured in 2006. Aaron just passed me over some information to correct me, so I wanted to make sure that it was correct. He was a news anchor for ABC in January of 2006 when he was hit by a roadside bomb while covering the war in Iraq, and he had a traumatic brain injury, and that is the reason they stand up in their foundation for awards for support among veterans and military service members, and that's why Lee was chosen for this book. And I just wanted to make that clear because I thought I gave an awful answer.
I thought she was a remarkable person to do the foreword, and I wanted to make sure that we gave her that honor. So very good. I'm glad to know BobWoodruffFoundation.com. And we want to repeat again, GoArmyCookbook.com is the best place for you to find this cookbook. It's $19.95, and don't forget that $1 of every cookbook purchased will be donated to Operation Gratitude, which annually sends over 150,000 care packages filled with food and products and items for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that are deployed overseas. Michael, thank you so much for giving us your time again this week and for being behind this wonderful publication. It's amazing.
It's my pleasure. Thank you both for having me, and thank you both in particular for being a big part of this because it couldn't have happened without you.
It's great. We're so glad to be able to share that with everyone. Don't forget, next week we'll have another great guest for you. Do tune in. And if you've missed this show or any of our shows, always find them at MilitaryMomTalkRadio.com. We are free on iTunes, and you can always find us right here on the TogiNet Network on our show page, MilitaryMomTalkRadio.com. Have a wonderful week, everyone. We look forward to seeing you all next week.